Hello everyone, welcome to the planBIM knowledge series. In planBIM knowledge series, we focus on different features and modules of planBIM and how they can serve as a purpose of filling gaps within the industry and the processes in BIM processes or construction management processes. Today's topic is managing scope of work along with project phases made easy, where we'll be looking at the different project phases and scope of work and how scope of work can be aligned throughout the project phases of a construction project. To start with, please let me know if you can hear me clearly. You can do so by clicking on raise hand in your left menu bar. Thank you. Now that I know you all can hear me, I would also like to mention that if you have any questions during our session, you can type in the question in the Q&A section. The questions will not be visible to the other attendees, so feel free to ask any questions. I will be answering all the questions by the end of the webinar, and if ever it is not answered due to time foundations, we will mail you the answers so you can put in as many questions as you require. Polls, we'll also be taking polls during the webinar. It would be a short poll. If you have missed it, anytime you can go to polls and click on participate and vote for your answers. Results will be published and emailed to the attendees. Introduction. So, hello everyone, I am Priya. I'm the regional manager of Texture Singapore. I've been working with Texture for more than 4 years. I've worked on various projects and helped BIM implementation on site and off site, and also worked extensively in developing standards across projects, developing training processes, and automation. And talking of planBIM, I have helped in developing technical content of planBIM that you see on the website and the product. And I am also the leader of growth in marketing. With me, I have Sora, who will be taking this webinar, the other section of the webinar. He is a BIM engineer at Texture and also a product expert at planBIM. He intends to understand customer experiences, identifies and fill gaps between the product, and generates new ideas through the requirement of the industry. And he has also played a major role in developing the technical content of planBIM with me. Today's webinar agenda, we have already covered the introduction of the speakers. We'll be seeing and understanding the various project lifecycle phases, understanding the importance of standardization in different processes, what is planBIM, scope management across phases via planBIM, which is through model progression matrix, and how planBIM can help in scope management. Starting with understanding various project life cycle phases. So, in a construction project, it starts with a design phase or engineering phase where things are planned, and then moves on to different phases of construction to the as built phase and the operations and maintenance phase. The different phases are preliminary design, detailed design, construction as built. This is a overview, and they are converted into sub phases, or they can be converted into different phases as your organization, or could be different related to the type of project that you are working on. But these are the phases. When it starts with a preliminary design, which is a basic design or a concept of the project, then a detailed design, which is also known as at LOD 300, where a detailed design or a design model is constructed within BIM and the design drawings are generated. Construction, where the model is detailed to a level which is good for construction. The drawings are extracted from those, which is LOD 400. And then moving on, the as built, which has all the information with regards to the site, the components, and all the facility management data inside the model. Project lifecycle phases start with majorly a design phase, like I mentioned, where it comes to conceptualization, programming, and cost planning, architectural, structural, and system design, which includes infrastructure, which includes mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, engineering, and design, analysis, detailing, coordinations, and specification. The next phase is construction phase, which starts by planning and construction detailing, construction manufacturing and procurement. And then in the later stages of construction, we also see commissioning as build and hand over to the operations phase, which is used for occupancy and operations, decommissioning and major reprogramming, and asset management and maintenance, which is for operations and maintenance of the building. These are the broad three types of phases inside project life cycle phases. These are subdivided into sub phases, and then they are divided into different activities or tasks carried out by the team or carried out during construction. Talking about activities at different stages of a project, there might be some activity which is starting, ongoing, or maybe ending. So here are some examples where you can see how a project or a activity goes on at different phases of the project, starting from the plan, design, construct, and operate. Some of the activities are overlapping on two, three, or more phases, but some activities are just specific to the phase they are at. Example: digital fabrication, maintenance, scheduling, asset management, they are restricted to just operate phase of the project. This could be different, like I mentioned, with the different projects that you are working on, and there could be different standards of the country that you are in, and it could be a global standard that you are following, which is ISO 19650, which has a detailed descriptions provided. Production delivery of information. ISO 19650, like I mentioned, aims to clarify functions and responsibilities of information management, how information travels throughout the phases of the project, and the function should not be tied to specific roles. Once a party is appointed, it talks to different appointed parties, and there is a form of BEP, where BIM execution plan, where the deal is signed by the appointing party and the appointed parties with the different scope of work, which is defined, the delivery life cycle, the delivery of information, BIM protocol, responsibility matrix of the team, TIDP, Task Information Delivery Plan, and multiple TIDPs make a Master Information Delivery Plan. TIDP is related to the task team, whereas MIDP is a broader picture of all the tasks related to the team and the TIDP. So I would say MIDP is a combination of all the TITPs. And lastly, the new term in the industry, level of information need, is also plays a important role, and it helps in finalizing the scope of work with a better understanding. BIM terminologies and acronyms, like I mentioned, LOD, LOI, LOIN. LOD refers to level of detail, whereas LOI is level of information. There is another term which is defined by ISO 19650, which is LOMD. Level of model in definition also refers to a level of development, and LOIN, which is level of information need. To understand this, LOMD is equal to level of detail plus level of information. Hence, level of development is equal to level of detail, which is with respect to the geometry or the granularity, plus the level of information. Level of information name defines the quality, the quantity, and granularity of the information. Information can be in the form of geometric information, like I mentioned, that it could be in the form of geometry of the element, how detailed it is, how more detailed or less detailed it is, which is a graphical representation, or alphanumeric representation with regards to the information which is provided within each element or model. In this manner, you can also define LOD, LOI, LOA at different phases of the project that we'll be covering in the next section of the webinar today. And to tell to you all that today's webinar is the last webinar for our Scoper module. And by the end, if you have not seen the earlier webinars, you can go to our YouTube channel and see it, where you can start and have a whole concept of defining scope of work in a very efficient manner. The classification in which planBIM work, planBIM provides two categories or two classifications. One is a generic classification, which is defined to the element defined through the different disciplines, which is architecture, structure, civil, etc., and then subdivide it into the elements and sub-elements. Example, the discipline is structure, the category is structural framing, and the subcategory is concrete beam. It could also be a different subcategory where it could be a steel beam. So this is for general understanding. So this is a general classification that we have followed and derived for everyone's understanding. We also have a omni-class classification of elements, where it is subdivided into four levels, which starts with level 1. The example provided here is now for substructure, which is the level 1 category, which narrows down to level 2, which is the foundations, which is the type of elements. Then subtype of elements are special foundation, and then lastly the final element is omni-class. You can also visualize omni-class numbers with the omni-class elements and the images. planBIM provides more than 500 images of each element for visualization. You can also view it in 3D to see the level of detail needed at any phase that you are defining on your projects. Now, when I'm talking about standardization, let's understand the importance of standardization and the project. Whenever a project starts at the initiation phase, the kickoff phase, there needs to be a set of standards to be put in place, or a process, a workflow to be put in place. The requirements generally are provided or executed before the creation of PEP or during that, but at every phase, you need to be very vigilant about the level of detail, level of information, and the scope of work at a broader picture. So, project information, BIM requirements, content library, project teams and roles, and all assessment. So, all these things need to be assessed at each level. And if it is correct, it needs to go forward to the next set of standardization, which is for templates, libraries, modeling standards, collaboration procedures, which has become a very important and a vital part since the pandemic, especially because people are at different geographic location and still working from home. The collaboration procedures need to be in place and standardized. The document procedure needs to be standardized, as earlier they used to be in at the site office in form of different papers and be collected by a document manager, but now we need to come up to a smart solution to manage all these standards, have a constant assessment and quality check till the end of the phase. So a standardization starts from initiation as you see, and there are multiple standards that needs to be assessed and quality checked and maintained. Also, not just that, every team member needs to be at the same stage and they need to know the latest information about these standards. If they are updated, the team needs to be updated then and there so that we are avoiding miscommunications, etc. If these are not followed, there are multiple challenges faced during scope management. I would say it starts from constant change. Whenever we are working on project, constantly there are things constantly changing. It could be a template, it could be a different standard, nomenclature, etc. Requirements that need to rethink in the mid project, like we start by defining the scope of work from the starting of the phase, but during the mid phase of the project we understand that we need to redefine certain things, so that needs to be taken forward to the team members and be communicated. The final outcome of not being what client expected. Well, in the BIM industry, this is the most common thing that arrives because in terminologies we are still using LOD 200, LOD 300, LOINs, but the understanding of each individual is still different. So having a visual representation or having both the parties come to one level of expectation would also reduce redundant work, which is one of the challenges. Budget overrunning, because there is a redundant work, the team is working continuously and producing outputs that are not expected by the client or maybe over detailed. The project, due to which runs behind schedule. There are communication gaps between the teams because they are not provided with the latest information. They have no access to the latest versions of BEPs, or they are provided by incomplete information about other stakeholders, or having a proper means of communication. All in all, I would sum this up by saying that standardized process and project standardization play a major role. And if they are taken care of at the initial stage of the project, then you can ensure that you will have a smooth running or a smooth workflow during your project life cycles. The next segment is what is planBIM. I would like to hand over the presentation to Saurabh, who will be taking you forward to our product, what is planBIM, and further to how you can manage scope of work through different phases of the project. To you, Saurabh.
Thank you, Priya, for the introduction and giving us an insight about the various phases over the construction projects and also giving us the importance of the standardization process. Now, I'll be taking about what planBIM is and why we have created it. planBIM is a cloud-based BIM management platform which can be accessed on all your devices. So we have dedicated applications in the Android as well as the iOS platforms. planBIM can also be integrated with desktop applications like Revit. So we have a dedicated plugin for planBIM that can be downloaded from the Autodesk App Store, and it can also be integrated with cloud applications like BIM 360. planBIM is fully customizable to specific project and company standards, and it also supports OpenBIM standards like IFC and more. planBIM has been developed keeping in mind the upcoming trends in BIM. The entire application has been developed with the aspects of common data environment as per the ISO 19650, and this helps you to achieve BIM level 2 and level 3 workflows in your organization. planBIM also complements and augments your existing project management tools and helps you to achieve organization-wide BIM compliance. So it is not just a single project that can be managed using planBIM, but all the projects that your company is working on can be managed through planBIM. planBIM also has a fully featured administrative tool that can be used for access control and user management. Now, essentially, planBIM can be termed as the next generation platform for BIM management, and any project within planBIM can be divided into 5 parts. And 5 parts, we have 5 dedicated modules for them. So the first module we have is the scoper module that is used for scope definition. So using the scoper module, you can define the scope for the entire project, that is starting from the roles and responsibilities of individual members or companies to defining the scopes of each and every BIM component, that is the level of development or the level of accuracy or information that has to go within the module. So all this can be defined using the scoper module, and scoper module is what we are focusing on for this webinar. The second module we have is the docs module that can be used for managing and organizing the various construction documents related to that project. And it is not just managing and organizing them, but you can also create documents from scratch. So we have a fully featured online editing functionality within planBIM where you can create documents too. The third module we have is the files management module. Now the files management module has two sides to it. The first being to manage, organize and share the various files related to the construction project or the BIM modeling process. So you can share files within or to the various stakeholders who are working on the same project. That can be like the MEP team, the structural team, and the architectural team, and even the client. So you can share the files with them in an organized manner, and even the revision history of the files that are being shared will be stored within planBIM. The second side is to track the entire Revit files. So the plugin is capable of extracting data points from the files and putting out this information in a viewable form on the cloud. So BIM managers can remotely track these files and analyze the health of the various Revit files his team members are working on. The fourth module we have is the content module that is used for the content standardization. So all the standards your company is following can be stored in one place and all the employees can access it directly on the cloud. These can be the Revit families that your company has created and is being used in multiple projects, so they can be well organized and managed in a single place, that is in planBIM. The last module we have is the tracking and coordination module. The tracking and coordination module can be used for tracking RFIs, RFAs and other daily tasks related to the project. And yes, so these are the 5 modules that planBIM offers. And as I told previously, for today's webinar we have is the scoper module, and in scoper module we'll be talking about the LOD progression matrix. And the feature related to the LOD progression matrix is that you can define the scope of the BIM component across the various phases of the project. I'll be showing you demonstrations related to it. So moving forward, we will take up the scope management via planBIM. So those who are present for our last webinar will be having an idea about how to manage the various phases here. This particular view will be there in the LOD matrix option of scoper module. To just show you a recap about it. Yeah. So this is how the planBIM application looks like, and once you get into the scoper module, the LOD matrix view, you have an option to assign or define the phases here according to the project requirements. So you, for example, we are kept it as an as-built, and you also have an option where you can set the start and end date of that particular phase in the construction project. So you can define it all here, and once this has been defined in this particular view, the new phase will be appearing in the LOD progression matrix which we are taking up today. So you can see that on the top bar of the screen, the ribbon has appeared where all the phases have been mentioned, and the new phase which we have added has appeared here as built. So this is how you add a new phase in planBIM. Now moving ahead, I would like to give you an overview of the LOD progression matrix UI. So here you can see it is a very similar view to the LOD matrix. The basic difference here is that you will be able to see the progress of a model over the various phases, and this ribbon here is the new addition. All the other smart tag features, such as the smart tag features to tag the level of development, the level of information, the level of accuracy, all that is over here too. Even the smart tag feature to tag the particular employee or the team member who has to model this, that is also here. You can also have a bulk tagging option using which you can assign the LOD, LOI, LOA for all the BIM components in a single click. So all those features are here too. Oh, but here the main difference you could see is that it is over the various project phases. Now I would like to talk about is the searching functionality within the LOD progression matrix. As you can see on top, once you click the search icon, you enable the search bar and you can type in what you want to search, and there is also arrow keys provided through which you can browse through similar results. This enables the BIM engineers to navigate thoroughly throughout the progression matrix and select the component they require and define its scope. Now, to add a particular BIM component over the various phases, there are two methods. So I'll be showing you the first method here. Here you can add individual BIM component in the phase you want to. So as you can see, initially we added a BIM component in the preliminary design, then on the detailed design, then in the construction, and then we do it in the as built. So here we are individually adding BIM components and defining its scope, such as the LOD, LOI, and even we're tagging the user who has to do the modeling. So this is one method. The second method in which you can define the scope for a model is you can add a particular BIM component in a phase. For example, we have added it in the preliminary design, and using the smart tag features defined its LOD, LOI, and the user who has to do the modeling. And then as and when the project progresses, we can drag and drop this particular BIM component in the phase we want to. So this enables the user to freely drag and drop the particular BIM component in the phase the construction project is now, and then he can also change the LOD, LOI in that particular phase. So this makes it more user friendly and easier for the people who are using planBIM. Now to talk about the deleting functionality in planBIM. So the user will have to select the BIM component and drag it over the bin icon to delete the selected item. This kind of a drag and drop feature for deleting also enhances the user experience of planBIM. So to summarize now about what we've discussed till now, first thing you will have to do is to add the new phase according to the project requirement or the standards you're following. So for that you will have to go to the LOD matrix and then go to the manage phases option and then input the new phase. So as an example, we put it as built, and you also have an option where you can set the start date and end date. This enables the BIM engineers during the course of the project, if they want to check what is the scheduled date for the particular phase, they can come to the screen and have a glance over this. Now once this phase has been added, you can go to the model progression matrix where you will see the new ribbon has appeared on top that has the various phases which you added or edited, right? And yeah, so now about the two methods of inputting data into this progression matrix. So the first one is about where you click on the add new icon and then the BIM component appears, and then using the smart tag feature you can set the LOD, LOI, and also tag which user has to do this modeling. And also another added feature that is there here is a pop-up view, using which you will get a three-dimensional view of the BIM component, which gives the model author the clarity of how much geometrical detail has to go into this particular model. So that helps him in that. And also you have to drag and drop the particular model or the BIM component over the various phases, and that is the first method. And how you're deleting this is that you can select the particular BIM component and drag it towards the bin icon and then leave. So the particular model gets deleted. The second method of inputting data into the model progression matrix is to add individual BIM components in each and every phases. So again, you click on the add new button and then put the component using the smart tag features. Define the LOD, LOI, and even tag which user has to do the model authoring for each and every phases. So this is a small summary about what we've discussed till now in the model progression matrix. Right. Now going forward, I would like to talk about generating reports based on the scopes that have been defined in the scope module. The Scopo module has the ability to generate reports in multiple formats that would make it easier for those project stakeholders that are not there on planBIM. These reports would help them understand the scope of work defined for the project in a better manner. So in case the other stakeholder who you want to share the file with is not having a planBIM account or is not there on planBIM, you can download the defined scopes in a PDF format or an Excel format and send it to him through any medium. To just show you a demonstration on how it is done. So you can see on the bottom under the Scoper tab there is a report section, and once you enter here you can generate a new report. And there are two types of report as I previously told you. So you can generate a PDF file or an Excel file, and these are the PDF export settings that planBIM provides. So you can set the document title, you can also set the document status, and also give a short description related to this document over here. So all this will be visible within the document too. And once you generate this document, a document is formed here, and you also have an ability to view it directly from here. So once you view, you will see the PDF format, and this is a format that has been pushed from the planBIM side. So each and every scope that has been defined for the project using planBIM will be visible here. So under the scoper module, we have three sections, that is the overview section, the LOD matrix section, and the progression matrix section. So each and every scopes that have been defined using these three will be visible in this generated report. So any stakeholder who is receiving this report will get a clear idea about the defined scope for this project. So yeah, now how planBIM can help in scope management. So to conclude, planBIM helps to define scope for every BIM component across various project phases. Stakeholders get access to all the latest information related to the model authoring across the project phases. You can also define LODs, LOIs and LOS in an easy to use interface, and there are smart tag features to tag the user or the company responsible for the model authoring. All the users working on the project are on the same page when a planBIM is put into implementation. So if any employee has a doubt on what the scope is assigned to him during that particular project phase, he can open planBIM and clearly see what is the scope that has been assigned to him, and he can go ahead with his work. So this is how planBIM helps in the scope management of a construction project. Now to talk about the company that has developed planBIM. So planBIM has been developed by us, Texture. Texture is a global consulting firm who's been working in the AC domain for the last 7 years. So with the vast experience that we've had in the BIM domain, we were able to develop an application that helps to improve the implementation of BIM on projects. We also deliver extensive virtual design, construction and project management services, and software leveraging building information modeling and other associated technologies. Now to talk about the verticals of Texture. So we are there in the virtual construction space, design and engineering, construction management, facility management, and technology consulting and software development. And we've also worked in multiple segments, that is residential, commercial, hospitality, healthcare, institutional, industrial, and infrastructural. Now talking about the technology integration by Texture for the AEC domain. So we do asset management, LIDAR, GIS, lean construction, blockchain, and we also have a software development team that works extensively on Flutter and Google Cloud. We are also more focused towards the design automation parts and also have integration with Autodesk Forge, especially for planBIM. So the 3D views that are generated within planBIM on cloud are done by the help of Autodesk Forge. So yes, that's the end of the webinar, and any questions related to this webinar can be shooted out on the Q&A tab. And I would like to hand over the presentation to Priya, and she will be answering all your questions. So over to you, Priya.
Thank you, Saurabh, for giving the insight of the product and how it can be used through different phases of the project for defining scope of work. And now I'll be taking the questions that have been posted in the Q&A section. So if you have any more until then, you can keep posting any questions that you have so far. The first question I got is the product available now? So the answer is yes, the product is available now. And the modules that Saurabh mentioned, so there are 5 modules, out of which the 4 are live. Only the tracker module is something that is into making, but the product is live, and you can log into the planBIM website and create an account and subscribe to our product. How much does it cost, which is the second question. You can see the pricing on our pricing page in planBIM, on planBIM website. So we have 4 subscription plans that start from light, which is $9 paid annually per user per month, and there are 2 more plans, basic, plus, and then the last one is pro, which gives you access to the whole product, all features and the modules, which is $29 paid annually per user per month. And if you want quotation for your company specifically, then you can push us an email and we can help you provide a quotation as well. Then next question, what are PLPs? PLPs are project life cycle phases, are the different phases during the life cycle of a construction project that may start from a preliminary design or a planning phase and to the as-built, O&M, etc., like I had covered in the webinar. Okay, I hope that answers your question. There's another one. How can I browse the previous webinar in the series? You can browse the webinar in the series through our YouTube channel. So planBIM has a YouTube channel and all the earlier webinars are published. You can subscribe to the channel for any further updates. Will I get a recording for this meeting? Yes, absolutely. You will get a recording of the webinar, and it will you will be receiving it in the mails eventually. So even in the future references, if you register for any of our webinars and even unable to attend it, we still shoot the recordings to the people. Yes, I hope that is all. Thank you all for joining our webinar. I hope you had a great time. I hope you have a good day. Thank you so much.